Welcome everybody to episode 15 of the Creator Steel podcast. I am joined here with Theo. So here's a little description about Theo. Theo is a 2D animation major studying to create his own original series at a big animation company. He also creates own characters, show ideas, and fan arts of popular shows you might have heard of. And then also dabbles in fan art for YouTubers, streamers, and does realism. And also does mainly traditional art, but sometimes get into digital art at times. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm just here.
Just, just getting by, right? Just, you know.
Honestly, that's how it feels when you're a college student.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Just moving right along. One week goes, and then here comes the next week.
Exactly.
So why don't you give us a brief description about like what you do, I guess.
So basically, the gist of what I do is that I do like fan art and I do my own original creations and stuff like that. Most people hear of OCs and stuff like that, and I have
Mm-hmm.
I have OCs as well. I
Yeah.
have like characters for like popular shows like Has Been Hotel, popular series
Mm-hmm.
like Mega Man, and but my biggest thing that I do is I do fan art and I do my own original art. Fan art
Okay.
is something I post on the frequent. So like you'll see on like my socials like Twitter and Instagram, like I'll post fan art for like famous people like streamers like Small Ant, CJ,
Mm-hmm.
and Fur, and maybe even other YouTubers like Alpharad. I
Mm-hmm.
will do fan art for Jaden Animations and all those popular YouTubers out there, just to
Cool.
kind of
Cool.
spread my name and also show support and love to the people who work very hard
Mm-hmm.
at what they do. And the biggest thing is my original series. It's called Reign of Vortex, and it is the
Okay.
series that I'm currently working on and have been working on for about like 10 years' time, because it started when I was little. I would always kind of get the idea to like make up these characters, these random characters just based off of like anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would personally, as a child, with you know how children are with imaginative minds,
Yeah, of course.
they they like tend to like do acting. They tend to come up with their own ideas. They
Mm-hmm.
draw. They do all that stuff. That's where my idea started for Reign of Vortex, was when I created two characters, Sky and Luke. Luke wasn't named Luke back then,
Gotcha.
but Sky
Gotcha.
was my main character of my entire series. And she
Okay.
still is to this day, but it's shared equally between the two characters. That's what most of my art is conceived of, is Luke and Sky and their relationships with others and the story that unfolds between the two.
Okay. Gotcha. And what is the name of this again?
Reign of Vortex.
Rain of Vortex, like
Yeah.
Rain. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And is this a animated series? Is this a comic series?
I actually kind of debated whether if I was going to do comic or animation.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I chose animation because one of my biggest inspirations is Vivian Medrano, who
Okay.
created the popular shows Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel.
Okay.
And I personally want to do the same thing where I have a studio of people and we pitch the idea and have it be officially made.
Oh
Because
yeah.
as people know, Has Been Hotel is a big show on Prime Video now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't start as that. It started out as a show, like a pilot show on YouTube.
Yeah. I
And
remember
that
that.
was
Yeah.
what it pitched to become the grander show. And I want to do something similar. I want to make a pilot with a team and then make it an actual series.
Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be. Have you animated any of it yet, or are you just kind of script writing?
I'm kind of basing like I'm coming up with ideas and like doing the script and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
because I want to have a basic idea down of what I'm doing for the story, like what's the plot,
Absolutely.
like what's the reason behind why I'm doing the story. One of the biggest key aspects is representation, different
Mm-hmm.
ethnicities, sexualities, gender identities, and I have characters that represent those throughout the whole entire series.
Okay. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I think I definitely think I know some people you should talk to if you're looking for maybe advice or at least like uh, somebody to help you, not help you like you can't do it yourself, but at least give a second opinion on certain things. I know a few people and, you know, film majors and people who have, I know somebody who's got a web comic. That's my last episode well, technically not my last episode, but yeah. When this comes out, as this recording, the one beforehand is the web comic that just came out. But yeah, no, I really like that idea. I think making an animation or something like that, I feel like that's always something I thought would be very, very cool, especially having like all these custom characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is that like the biggest thing with like my representation is I really want to put like a focus on mental health as well,
Mm-hmm.
because this is coming from the fact that I am a person who struggles with anxiety, depression, and I'm diagnosed with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So I think differently about these things, and I would love to get people some insight on the different tolls mental health can take on an individual, both mentally and physically.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good thing that you're taking from your own experience to write a story, because I think it'll make it more genuine and not that it would be, but it feels like that you're taking this from a very impactful part of your life and turning it into art, which is great. It's really good.
Yeah, I love to turn my own original ideas into artwork. Even when I vent, when I make emotional pieces, that's where I have a character that is representative of me, and
Mm,
that's where my username Demon King Theo came from, is because I have an original character that is my persona character, if you will, and
mm,
he is actually it's a subplot of like my own story, because I want to give a reason. Like I it's not that I want to give a reason, but like it's that I have a series separate from Reign of Vortex that is with my persona and other characters that are based off people I know.
yeah,
And that's where Demon King Theo is from, because that persona represents me and how I am as a person. But the demon part doesn't come into, oh, he's a demon because he does bad things. No, I it's based off of other different factors that don't necessarily fall under, oh, he did good or bad things. I just want to
absolutely.
make him a demon because I have a genuine obsession with demons and angels. I love that kind of like history stuff with demons and angels. So it was like, of course I was gonna make my persona a demon and then have that that character's partner be an angel, although in
Yeah,
realistic reality I don't have a partner.
yeah,
Not
of
yet.
course. Well, is have you released these characters from your shows? Like, I'm sure you've made drawings for them, correct?
Oh
I
yes,
was thinking.
definitely a lot of art.
So, have you released these, or are you kind of keeping these on the down low for now?
Like the drawings.
Yeah.
Well, on my socials, you can actually find a good chunk of what I do
Mm-hmm.
with my characters and the fan art and all that stuff. I don't keep all my art for my project secret. I actually tend to post little like mini comic pieces time to time. I'm like basing like off of like how the story is gonna go,
Uh-huh.
and it's basically lore in a way. I post like time to time like little comic lore things, even though the series is
Yeah.
not gonna be a comic book. It's gonna be an actual TV series.
Hey there, we've got a quick ad break for you. And the ad is from me. If you or somebody you know is a creative type person, such as an artist, a musician, a content creator, as anything of the above, a small business owner, I would like to have you on my podcast. And I would love to be able to learn more about you and about what you do. So again, if you or somebody you know is a content creator, musician, and a creative person in general who has something they would like to share, then by all means, please reach out to me and I would love to have you on my podcast. And secondly, I would like to offer that I am now running ads for people who would like to advertise something that they do, something they provide, whether it be they make art, whether they have a book they want to sell, doesn't matter. Whether they ever want to share some music that they make, doesn't matter. Reach out to me and you can have that in one of my episodes. But again, just reach out to me and I'll get you right back into the episode. Thank you. I discovered I now know some I don't even know what this would be classified under, but do you know what I learned what an animatic is recently. I had no idea what
Yes.
that was. Did you make those?
Um, that's actually something that I plan to study in my time going forward
Hmm.
because I want to address my ideas in my show in other like ways that don't necessarily just come in drawing form.
Yeah.
Because even though we see animatics and animation being still drawing in their own ways, it it's different if you're thinking 2D or 3D animation. But I'm going 2D, so it's more so on the traditional drawing
Yeah.
scale. And with me personally, I would love to dabble in animatics just because it would give me an idea on how to animate my characters on a much more efficient level and how characters move, how to draw them accurately. And it could really help portray some ideas in a much more vivid light where it can grab people's interest more often.
Yeah, of course. And it might give somebody, the guy I had on, uh, he also did animatics, and he was saying how that kind of gave an opportunity for people to like attach themselves to the characters that he had. And that's another thing. You kind of establish somewhat of a personality for these people, for these characters, and it might give an opportunity to. That could be a good way to gain a community, to gain a following if that's what you're looking to do on social
Yeah.
media, for sure.
And it's like the other thing that isn't exactly animatics that I've also seen people do to gain followers is do like these little animation memes in ways
Yeah,
where they take
yeah,
like the popular music and they take like a theme from the music and then they like incorporate it into like an idea and then they just draw that idea out into like animation.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's something that I like to do from time to time too. I just haven't had any time to really make animations for it. It's just something
yeah.
that I find interesting because incorporating music into files with drawings is kind of hard
Yeah, no,
for someone who doesn't actually do computer stuff half the time, which is crazy considering what I'm studying to do.
yeah, no, yeah, I will, yeah, I definitely can see that. Yeah, I think with animatics, I follow so many accounts that make those. Like, I don't know why, I just really like them. So that's why I brought it up, because I didn't know what it was called. I was just like, I don't even know what this is, but it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, no, that's really cool that you're wanting to do that. Um, so kind of, maybe my next question will be like, what is something that kind of inspired you to start maybe wanting to make a series? Was it whether it can be a piece of media, a person, that could be a celebrity, or even somebody like your family?
I'm gonna dig deep into childhood for this one, and I'm sure people around my age can relate, especially like the young boys. But
I guess.
but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the
Yeah,
2012 variant,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
not
about. Yeah.
not Rise, the 2012 variant, the one that was on Nickelodeon
Okay.
back in
Yeah.
the day,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
and
Yeah.
that one I loved watching it, and it came out when I was like 6 years old,
Mm, yeah.
and ever since it came out, I would watch the episodes religiously. And honestly, that's where I actually got my inspiration to make my show a thing because it my show is very much an action based series, just like how
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be.
Mm.
Except it takes a more like extraterrestrial approach because, the main idea is that you have characters that are not from Earth, but they live on Earth to protect from the main villains who want to control both lands.
So it's like a sci-fi type
Yeah,
deal,
that's
kind of.
it's kind of like a mix between sci-fi, fantasy, and action.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like that. I like that. I always
Because
like the
like
vibe of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
you have your traditional like fighting things for like action,
Yeah.
fantasy because like kings and queens and princes and princesses take place in this, and um sci-fi because of the extraterrestrial and
Yeah.
scientific approach to everything.
Yeah. Of course.
And it seems like a lot to put onto like one story to like put like three different like major things into one story, but I
Mm.
feel like my goal is to get people attached to these characters, so it's like if something happens to one of them, it's like, oh, I'm actually like worried for this character. I want them to do better. I want them to succeed in what they're doing, and I don't want them to fail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want people to get attached to my characters, especially Luke and Sky, because they are like two of the most important characters that you'll ever see in the whole entire series. Especially Sky. Sky is like the resemblant of me, but in a story format.
So it sounds like you've done a lot of thought in the storytelling aspect, because I guess you have to make sure you, I guess good stories make you attached to the to the main characters, and then and make sure you portray that so they can become attached to the characters. So when something happens to the main characters, it's not just like, oh, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a certain level of drama in it, I guess.
Yeah, and the drama and the like the big emotional parts of it is also going to play like a big key factor into the
Hmm.
whole thing, because it's going to get emotional for sure, because
Yeah.
characters are going to have mental breakdowns, characters are going to have panic attacks, and it's something I want to like showcase in my series, because that's coming from me, a person who actually does tend to panic and have overthinking moments, get stressed a lot quicker. And
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to link directly to the autism. It can just be the fact that I have these because of my depression, that I've been pent up from stress, traumatic experiences, and stuff like that. Because I do have some trauma in me. I know I do, because my therapist told me I did at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I want to convey different types of trauma in my series so that way other people can feel heard and understood.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's like it's kind of like I feel like that's one really big thing about art in general is on a large viewpoint is it's not about necessarily it's about the impact about like it's valued a lot on how people are impacted by it and what it makes them feel. Um, and so creating a story that people can relate to in multiple different walks of life and in different ways is very important.
It's like very like emotion driven, and like when you think about it, like how you said, like if you can create characters that are like relatable, and you can create a story that's understandable for like different people, different calibers and stuff like that, then I mean, it would just add more to the interest, because people feel like they're being heard. People feel like they're understood. It can be a comfort show to them,
Yeah.
because they'll be able to resonate with what the characters are doing and how they're doing, because comfort characters are a thing, a big thing, especially for me. And honestly, when I think of my comfort characters, like the first few that I end up going to are characters like Leonardo from TMNT,
Mm,
um,
mm.
Jinx from Arcane, uh, Catra from She-Ra, and Marcy Wu from Amphibia.
I gotcha.
Four major characters I think about when it comes to comfort characters, because I understand them, I relate to them in ways. And when you have characters that you can relate to and you can understand to a personal level, it just makes you feel like you're one and the same with them, and it makes you feel more connected to their story and how you understand what they're going through. And it can make you feel better in the end, because it's like you're not alone.
Yeah, it can inspire you to reflect on yourself and what you do in your life, so absolutely, I fully agree. It's good that you have this kind of approach to you seem to have this very meaningful approach to storytelling, and that's kind of it seems like I feel every story has a moral, even like if it's something very random, and I think it's I think you're kind of taking an approach. I haven't heard from a lot of other people and talking about their kind of their stories that they're making. Um, but yeah, just kind of having. I find it very interesting when you're writing a story and you're instead of going off of, oh, I have these ideas of, which it sounds like you do regardless, but when you're going off trying to write a story around trying to portray a certain feeling or emotion or something that people can relate to, right? Then it's very interesting on how you do that. Like it's kind of like in the movie A Beautiful Mind, right? When they're portraying what it'd be like to be schizophrenic. right? Like
Yeah,
that is,
because you're like looking at it from different angles, from different
yeah,
perspectives. And it's good to have that because it goes back to adding to the layer of being understood.
yeah.
You want people to understand from your perspective and not just be from one perspective where it's like, oh, this person just is the same as this person. It just becomes a repetition if it's the same character all over and over again. Which is why I want to add to like characters with like different identities and stuff like that, and just
Mm.
different types of people because maybe it'll actually help somebody understand that you're never alone. There's something you can learn from this character because these characters are everlastingly growing as people, and it's like in their world that's how it's going to be. They're going to be growing as people, and it feels like you can grow along with them.
This sounds like this would be a really good show for, and I mean this in a good way. Like a really good show with this approach is a really good show for like young adults and um kids really. Like I think this is
Here's
I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I hope you mean I mean that in a good light, but I think this is because I think a lot. It's funny because like there's like shows like Adventure Time, regular show, Steven Universe, all these kind of cartoons that a lot of kids grew up with. Like these shows, I think they kind of watched when you were a kid, and then now a lot of people are going back to them because they
and
liked it.
I understand that from like things like that, but like my actual age rating for this is gonna be like interesting because you said young adults, but it's like it's gonna be an adult show in general, 17 and up, because it
Yeah.
is going to showcase violence,
Oh, okay, that's
heavy
fair.
violence to a degree, and it's also going to have offensive language and stuff like that. Not like has been hotel levels of offensive,
Hmm.
but like it's going to be like more on the adult end of a show because
Okay.
of mainly because the violence aspect, because when you think of kids shows they usually censor the violence.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
How
not saying I'm gonna show heavy violence in my stuff. I'm just saying that like it's not really gonna be like whatever violence is shown, it's not necessarily gonna be hidden
that's true.
in a
That's true.
way. So it's like, and I don't want to traumatize the community of children. I don't want to.
Hey, I mean, there's kids in our generation who grew up playing like GTA 5, so
I grew up playing Doom.
so yeah, maybe I definitely understand for sure,
Nothing's gonna stop the
but
little kids from finding out.
yeah, they'll especially in this day and age of kind of media where it's like accessible no matter what.
Yeah,
Uh,
because internet exists. What the heck?
yeah, yeah, like they sell like kids toys for like a Squid Game and stuff like that, and I'm like, what?
It's like how? What do you mean?
Like,
The show is not for children.
do you remember when the FNAF movie came out?
Yes.
So me and my buddies went to go watch the movie as a group, and we go and we're thinking like, we remember when this game came out. We remember playing it for the first time. Like it's just very like it's kind of like a nostalgic game for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
And we pull up to the movie theater, and like all you see is little kids, and it beyond shocked me. I was like, I didn't know
It's
there were this many.
it's crazy. It's like oh, this would be perfect for my kids. A show about kids being killed. Like what?
Yeah, I was like, how do they? I was like, what? I was like, I didn't.
Like how does that work? Like what kind of mentality does your parent have to like want to bring a kid to something like that? Like
Yeah,
okay, I
for real.
get it. We were all like young when we discovered FNAF probably, but dang.
It's like I think I
I was
found
8
out
years
that
old
it's
when I
like,
discovered it, and I was like, even then, that's not that young.
yeah. I
Like, it's
mean,
young, don't get me wrong, but it's not that young.
I think I realized that a lot of the younger audience for FNAF kind of fell more in love with the lore, whereas like not saying like kids in our age range didn't also just like the lore too, but like like when it came to like me and my brother, like we just liked the game. Like the game was this was an this awful. Okay, I mean when I say that FNAF is an awful game, it's like because it's one of those games I can't play because it's just that like it's probably the only horror game that actually affects me, to be honest with you. It's the only one
It
that
is to
actually
me,
rages my like heart rate. Okay.
yeah, it's not. Okay, the first three games are manageable, but when you get to the fourth game, that's when it starts becoming an issue because I cannot stand silence, and the fourth FNAF game that utilizes silence in such like a complex way
Yeah.
because you have to listen, and I'm like I have to turn my TV up to the highest volume because I used to have it on my Switch.
Mm.
I would turn it up to the highest volume, and I'd like have to like be really careful, and then I get jump scared at a really loud volume, and I'd be like, man, can you
What
not?
what did what number was Sister Location? What number of the game?
Five.
That was 5. I don't know why I
Yeah.
played that one on mobile for some reason. And
Like,
yeah, that
if you're
was
gonna
rough.
play a FNAF game, always play it either on a computer or on a TV or something where you can get the secret endings. Because on mobile devices, it's kind of hard to get the secret endings because
Yeah.
unless you like have like the full version, which usually they make you pay like $6-7 for,
Mm.
I'm just like, waste my money on that. I can just watch Markiplier.
Does you or someone you know have a piece of art that they've been looking to find but they just can't find it? Something to put up in their room that really shouts their personality? And well, I might know exactly who you were looking for. And who I'm talking about, of course, is Vivid Joyce. Now, she makes art all sorts of sizes. Whatever size you need, you just give it to her and she'll make it for you. At prices as low as $20. She can do whatever design you were looking for. All you gotta do is shoot her that design and she will have that ready for you. And to whatever specifications you need, whether you want that sketched, watercolor, whatever you were looking for, whatever your desires are, she can do that for you. If you or someone you know is looking for a piece of art to either gift, to put in your room, to hang on your wall, whatever it may be, she can help you with that. But other than that, go check out the link in my bio. To find her link, the link will be in the bottom of this video. And yeah, the link will be in the description of the video. What is let me think. What is this kind of meant? What has art kind of meant to you over the years? Like, has it how has it kind of impacted your life?
Art to me has always been a form of an expression
Mm-hmm.
because to me, growing up, it was the only thing I ever wanted to do once I first discovered my love for it. And the
Yeah.
way I discovered my love for it was when I'm going to sound really much like a little girl, even though, I'm not a girl, but my biggest thing was when I was in 4th grade, I had a friend who would draw My Little Pony characters.
Mm.
And that's where I started my art journey, was drawing ponies. And then it eventually evolved into humans by the time I hit 5th grade. And then 6th grade and forward, it would just be a mix of every fandom I was into. So FNAF, My Little Pony, humans. And ever since then, I was like, when my friend taught me how to draw like that, I was like, this is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
And it just turned into a fixation of mine so much that as I got older, I couldn't even focus in my classes because I seriously just wanted to draw all the time.
Yeah, you got that. You got
And
that
it's
itch.
just a
Yeah.
personal form of expression. And I always have these ideas, and it's like, it feels so good to put your ideas on paper because then it's a physical piece of media you can't forget. And you can carry
Yeah.
it with you to be reminded, hey, this is what I'm doing. But also, if you improve, you can also look back on your work and be like, I did this.
Yeah.
I accomplished something. Even if you felt like you were so horrible at everything that you did, you could always look back at your artwork and see your improvement and be like, this is what I did. This is what I'm proud of. And to
Yeah.
me, it wasn't about being the best artist I could be. It was about how much growth could I go through for myself as an artist? What can I do for myself?
Well, that kind of begs the question then, what is that one piece of art that you made that is like your go-to, like your number one piece, right? The one that you're like the most proud of, I guess.
Well, probably the biggest one that I've ever actually like made was probably like a super recent one that I did of like my original characters, like on a big Bristol paper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a big piece of Bristol paper. I don't remember. I think it was like maybe like 18 by 24
Like inches
and
or
inches, I
oh,
think.
oh, like feet. I'm like that's I don't even know.
No, not feet. That's too long. It'd take me
Yeah,
forever.
I was like that is massive. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's like one of the biggest sizes of Bristol paper you can find from Strathmore, and I drew 5 characters on it, like, and leveled them evenly, and I was so proud of it even to this day because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I have never drawn two characters next to each other, let alone five, that could
Mm.
literally stand like feet even with each other. Like they'd always be one bead higher than the other one in like length, like in the sense
Yeah,
of like where they're standing at. So it's like I managed to get them all like leveled perfectly, and I still have the artwork with me to this day.
that's
And I
good.
always look back on it for reference. I look back on it for growth and development because I was really proud of it. It took me like a full like on day of like nothing but straight work to get it done, and I was like, guys, I think I peaked.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I think this is the max point. Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean.
Yeah.
And then that's when you're like, okay, now what's my next challenge, right? You know, I
Yeah, because it's hard to name one specific artwork that I'm proud of the most half the time.
mhm.
It that artwork is pretty great and it is one of my favorites to this day, but like it's hard to list one specific favorite because even to this day I'm always improving as an artist and I'll always be able to make artwork that might even peak higher than the previous one.
Yeah,
You never really know how it can go, and that's the thrill of being an artist is the fact that you'll always be able to grow and improve as long as you put that time and effort in.
mm,
That's the thrill of it all because you want to be a better artist, you want to get better at what you do, and eventually if the algorithm is on your good side, then you'll be able to maybe monetize your stuff and be able to make money.
yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
all possible. Like people have done it plenty of times. I follow some pretty good artists online on like Instagram and stuff like that that have literally made a career out of just making artwork as freelance. It's
Yeah,
possible. Most of the time it's because freelance like not and maybe most of the time it's because the algorithm is being nice for once, but it all also comes into play with how you approach your posting, how you approach the way you reach your audience, how you promote your work. What are you doing to actively like boost your reputation? What are you
yeah,
actively doing? That's
yeah,
the biggest thing for me.
yeah. You gotta check out the analytics. You gotta see what people are liking and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of like sometimes you gotta have a balance. You gotta have a balance of where you're making art that you feel like is good and genuine, and then you're also doing the things that are producing success. You know, because you want to make sure one you're doing things that you're happy with, but also if you're really wanting to grow it, then you got to find what people like. Of course, but you don't do anything that you're not happy with. You know,
Yeah.
and it all depends about again about your approach. It's really what you're really looking to do on these social media apps and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
have a bit of a more uh, different question, kind of. What is a piece of media or art that you unapologetically enjoy that might shock others, aka a guilty pleasure?
Like example.
So, okay, let me think.
I'm
So I
starting.
had one guy, I had these guys who did drifting, and they said that a guilty pleasure for them was, I actually don't know if they said this, but I don't know. I would say it would be like saying you unapologetically love playing Dress to Impress on Roblox or something. Like that's kind of like a guilty pleasure. It doesn't have to be something necessarily that you actually have to be see as a bad thing or like guilty. It's just something that people might not expect that you like, basically.
I mean, what's a thing that I like that like people don't know that I do? Um,
Yeah, that might be a
that,
good answer.
um,
I'm trying to think what
okay,
mine would be.
this is weird, but people don't know this about me, but I've actually had like a big interest in cosplaying,
Oh, okay.
and my guilty pleasure is whenever I can trying to attempt to make costume pieces
Ooh, okay.
for those ideas. And they're mainly based off of like actual characters that already exist. But like I
Hmm.
totally love my own characters one day, and I've been thinking about it.
Okay, have there been any like difficulties you ran into while kind of whether it be uploading on social media or making this art? Some people have art blocks, stuff like that. Anything like that?
Yeah, I do tend to have my spells of where I can't draw
Hmm.
things. kind of sucks really bad because it's like I have
Yeah.
these, I don't know how to draw them.
Uh-huh.
So like whenever I get art block, it's like I try to dig myself out of it by trying something that I'm not usually used to doing. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like maybe like it doesn't have to follow under art either. It can just be like maybe like try like an acting thing, maybe
Mm.
like watch to get your inspiration back. Just find something, or maybe just try and push yourself to understand and like push yourself to like get out of that art block by like testing your limits with your art.
Mm.
Maybe like trying something different, maybe like trying a background if you're not familiar with backgrounds, maybe trying like different type, maybe draw animals, cars,
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah.
Try and like teach yourself different things to pass the time while you're in the art block mode, and when you're finally motivated, maybe you can get up and actually get what you're doing and get to doing it. Like for me, my cosplay that I was doing with the box head, like that actually got me really inspired to like keep drawing some more stuff and more ideas out,
Yeah.
because I have and even watching, like even scrolling through just Instagram for like 5 minutes can give me inspiration for a new art idea. Like I can
Yeah.
just like art TikToks or whatever, and it'll just give me inspiration like that. Like it'll just give me inspiration so quickly because I'm more inspired and moved by other people's work than my own half the time. So it just adds even more to when I'm actually really inspired by my own work, and then I'm inspired by online work, that my art block just kind of dissipates over time.
Yeah.
But I definitely have struggled with the algorithm too,
Mm.
because people don't really tend to see my stuff. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like when I try to post, and when I try, it is so frustrating because everyone's like not seeing it, and then when people do see it, they're like, "Oh, this is so underrated," and I'm like, yeah, "You're right."
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yes, thank you for pointing out the obvious, you know.
Yeah, it's like thank you, because I need this bigger attention span with people, because like I swear my art is worth it. I promise. You just have to find it, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's honestly finding what people are gonna are gonna click on and they're gonna like and they're gonna follow you for is it's difficult to find the best way to post it, you know, the best way to present it, all that
Um,
stuff. It's very difficult to find out the exact way, right?
my most popular TikTok actually was a TikTok of drawing fan art of YouTubers.
Oh, okay. How many views did it get if you don't mind me asking?
Well, because I was very new to posting on TikTok, like very recently, because I don't ever post on there, and it's like my first ever post was like pretty decent in the amount of size of viewers, but like I got like a couple bookmarks on my video for those
Mm,
YouTubers. Got like it was like 60 to 70 likes, and then like over like 900 views.
that's good. That's really good. Yeah, that's
And, like, that was like my third or fourth post out of everything that I posted on there, and that was coming from the fact that I have literally like no followers at all on there.
it. I don't, you know, this is coming from somebody who's I wouldn't necessarily say I have a huge following on all my platforms either. But I'm seeing how it's growing now, and I'm figuring that out. It's like if you're able to consistently get over 900 views on a lot of your videos, like when starting out, like that's really good. You know, that's getting view counts like that. You know, can really make a difference in the growth of your channel. So you might not get, you know, 30 followers from a new video and stuff like that, but you know, it'll build up the more you post it. You know, you'll see results for sure, for sure.
My YouTube has been booming. Not really, but
Okay, what's that? What does that look like? I mean, if you don't mind sharing. I mean,
my YouTube is still very fresh and new. I like you'll be able to point out my art right away, but it's like I don't know if I shared it in the links, but
I
it's
think you did.
just it's simplistically just Adam Rodas. That's all it is. Very
Okay.
simplistic, so anyone can look it up. And it's there to document my progress in my story.
Okay.
So I tend to upload animations and stuff like that. Maybe here and there you'll find a school assignment because I have to upload from YouTube.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of uh,
It's like a
almost like a
process.
vlog
I
kind of type deal.
process of my original series, basically, in ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. How many subscribers do you have?
Because I had just started up like a month ago, like
Uh,
4.
okay. Yeah, that's totally fine. YouTube subscribers are like gold. Okay, compared to like
Like, biggest
followers,
thing is
like
algorithm, please.
the YouTube algorithm is so hard. Like it's because
It's
people
pay
now are focusing on
my
like Reel and TikTok.
it's like my favorite people ever. It's like the Mario Odyssey speedrunner community. So it's like Small Ant, CJR, Burr,
Hmm.
and like them. I'm just like, give me your subscribers, please. I draw you fan art.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like
Be my friend so I can make money.
it's like when it's like the thing is like I wish you kind of solely growing on YouTube has become a very difficult thing to do unless you're doing something that's very common like video game content. You're doing stuff like that. That stuff does fantastic. Like I have a buddy
But
who
yeah,
does Minecraft videos. They do great. My buddy does geometry videos or geometry dash videos. They do great.
yeah. And here's the thing for any viewers listening on, check out those Mario Odyssey speedrunners because I'm not sponsored, but I honestly really like their content and I think you
Yeah,
guys should.
absolutely. They'll definitely. I think they'll definitely go do that. I have one kind of final question for you, and it's what's a piece of advice you would give anybody in your comparable situation? So, just something to people, maybe fellow artists who are uh, maybe kind of in a similar situation to you. What advice would you give them?
Well, the biggest thing that I could ever just say, and it's your straight up run of the mill statement, just don't ever give up on your dreams because as much as you feel like you're going to lose yourself and lose everything in life, even when you're down in your worst moments, you're living life for yourself. You're not living it for anybody else.
Yeah.
You want to you want to appeal to people because unfortunately in life popularity doesn't just grow on trees. You got to work
No.
to earn it. And it's just you can achieve whatever you're looking for if you just try your hardest to
Yeah.
achieve it. You'll
Yeah.
you'll always have some kind of goal. Even just work small steps at a time. Even it doesn't have to be huge steps because you, especially if you're a young person like me, then you'll most definitely take little steps and it'll add up over time. Don't push yourself and stress yourself out even more. If you can
Mhm.
only take a certain amount at a certain time, don't overfill your plate with how much you have because it's going to make you stress out even more and you're going to feel like you can't do it and then when you mess up, you're going to want to give up. You're more inclined to give up.
Yeah.
And I've been through them stages a lot in my life. I've been through stages where it's like, oh, I don't feel like I'm able to do this. I feel worthless. I feel like I can't make my dream happen.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing, even if it's to myself, even if it's to the people listening, for a fact, just don't ever let go of that part of yourself that has that passion. Don't let
Mm.
go of your passion because your passion, even if it means the most to you and not much to anyone else, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks because it matters to you. It
Yeah.
really you. And that's the biggest takeaway from this in the story that I'm making. Just don't let yourself feel worthless just because other people aren't treating you with the worth you deserve.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good piece of advice. I want to thank you again for, taking the time to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in to this new episode. And if you're looking to check out Theo's links, definitely go look in the description of wherever you're listening, whether it be on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever that may be. Definitely go check those out. Give it a follow, subscribe, do what you can. And other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.